Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to a special America edition of Honest Trailer Commentaries. America.
They're all special America editions.
That's true. Everything is a special America edition. My favorite American's with me, Lon Harris. How's it going, man?
Hey, what's going on? Your favorite? Wow.
One of my faves.
I'm impressed.
You're on the Mount Rushmore for sure.
That's awesome.
So today is election day. Go vote. If you haven't, then come back to this show as a little treat. Because after that, we're going to be talking about the National Treasure movie. Just the first one. We didn't do the sequel. We'll be watching.
That was an interesting choice on your part, by the way. I assumed when you said watch National Treasure, we would be doing Book of Secrets in there.
I just want to leave open the possibility of revisiting this world in 2 to 4 years.
There's so much. There's so much to unpack.
Lon, you might not have noticed that they stopped making new movies. So every honest trailer we make is one less honest trailer we'll get to make.
Yeah.
That said, today we will be watching National Treasure 1, talking about it, giving you our behind-the-scenes thoughts, watching some deleted scenes, responding to comments from viewers like you. If you're in the live chat right now, maybe over this that direction, put your question in and we'll answer it at the end of the show, and then tease you with next week's honest trailer. Sounds good? Great. Love it. Lon, National Treasure, man, these movies are, they're definitely stupid.
Yes.
But I think that they're light and breezy and not like in a self-serious way where you really groan about it. Like these are social studies classroom movies to me.
Yes. I mean, you would think that for the people who were alive and creating these puzzles or the historians that are solving them, you could make the challenges a little bit more elaborate than like the Liberty Bell and Valley Forge. Like they're going over literally the stuff we learn about in like junior high. Like if you take like any AP US history student could be like, what about the Whiskey Rebellion and the Rough Riders? Like there are more esoteric references they could be coming up with here, and they're just going for like the easy single every time.
Well, the founding fathers, in their infinite wisdom, also, I guess they knew everything that was going to remain important to future generations.
Right.
Like Ben Franklin's like, these glasses I wear, these are going to be iconic.
They're all going to remember my stovetop inventions. So, it's a little silly. But what I was going to say is, I feel like if they had gone with the tone of like the Da Vinci Code movies, it wouldn't work. It's just that they go for the kind of goofy adventure throwback tone that makes it almost a comedy. That's like, okay, I'm into this. It's fun.
Although it was missing, like the Da Vinci Code had the like slightly mutated Opus Dei bald killing guy.
Right.
I think that this movie could have used some type of Igor, stalking our heroes.
So rather than like Sean Bean, who's just like, European mercenary number 4, a more colorful nemesis. I could see that.
Yeah.
Why not like a monster guarding the treasure room? As long as you're going Freemasons, Illuminati, buried crypts under churches, like why not a troll down there?
Well, I think we have a real lack of mythology in America. I mean, we do. This is it. Like it's the founding fathers. That's about as deep as it goes. And then everything else is like too contemporary. Like you're not going to bury like JFK in a tomb with like a syringe full of syphilis chasing you around. Like
Bigfoot, throw Bigfoot down there.
Bigfoot,
that's a native. That's an American myth, right?
I would love to watch Nick Cage fight Bigfoot, and he probably does in one of his direct-to-DVD movies.
I bet if that hasn't been made, that 2022 we'll be getting Nick Cage versus Bigfoot in some contest.
Yeah. I guess what else is there to say? I mean, it's like the guy's background. I think the guy who made it, Turtle Top, is the guy who made Three Ninjas and was it Cool Runnings or something? Yes. Movies like that.
And Phenomenon with Travolta, where he gets like a magic brain tumor that makes him smart.
Sorry, I missed that one.
That's what that movie. Spoiler alert! If he gets super smart, and then the whole movie you're like, "What made him super smart?" And then the end you find out is like he's dying of brain cancer, and it like stimulated the parts of his brain. Right? Bittersweet, folks.
Give me all the Oscars. Wow.
It's terrible. It's really
the John Travolta wants an Oscar movie category is very deep and bizarre. What's the one where he plays an angel and like eats all the sugar?
Michael,
yes.
Yeah. Also, you know what Turtle Top did most recently? A little film called The Meg.
Oh, you're right. He did do The Meg.
Yeah.
What a great idea. Wow, good for him. So
Nick Cage stealing the Declaration of Independence to Jason Statham almost punching a giant shark. It leads,
so
one
close.
leads naturally into the other.
Meg 2, he's got to punch that shark.
Yeah, come on. What do they think?
Now, I haven't seen the sequel to this film.
Oh.
Can you give me like a rough sense of where it goes from here? Does it get more over the top? Does it kind of stay in the same lane?
It's very much like more of you'd like to see more of this? Then yeah, let's, except it's like Civil War era. So rather than American Revolution, Founding Fathers stuff, they're hunting for like stuff from the 19th century. But other than that, I don't really remember that.
I do wish that they treated this, that they kept making him, and this was kind of like, the X-Men franchise that keeps doing like decade hops and stuff like that until he was going through, Reagan's tomb and like finding the secret in his jelly beans and stuff like that.
Right. I'm looking, it's another Gates ancestor is now suspected of being involved with the Lincoln assassination. So he needs to find John Wilkes Booth's diary to prove his own family's innocence. That's the setup of a National Treasure.
Because are they like going to put them in jail for killing Abraham
No,
Lincoln?
it's to clear the Gates family name, Spencer. It's a point of, they're not going to put Nicolas Cage in jail. Like, how dare you kill Lincoln, sir? I mean, what I think you have to respect about that is it came out after that Simpsons episode where Homer's looking for Lincoln's gold, but it's the same premise.
Perfect.
So to come in after the Simpsons did it, just be like, yeah, Lincoln's gold again. Screw you.
I love it. All right. Well, Simpsons did it. And we did National Treasure. So let's watch our honest trailer for National Treasure together as a nation.
Vote. Go vote, everybody. Then come back. I'm not going to tell
you. If you love historical mysteries, but wish they weren't so European, switch the settings to easy mode for a scavenger hunt that anyone could figure out, even kids and Americans. National Treasure.
We're done.
When the Declaration of Independence is in danger.
Someone's going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
One group will steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm going to steal the Declaration of Independence.
So that no one else can steal the Declaration of Independence.
I'm not going to let you steal the Declaration of Independence.
Then use it to re-steal a bunch of treasure.
We kind of undersold how many times they talk about stealing the Declaration of Independence because it was the first half of the film.
If you track, and I know this because I did, if you track every time they say the phrase Declaration of Independence, it's like a really surprisingly long list.
The amount of times they say it, you'd think they'd start shortening it to the Declaration or the DI. Take your pick.
Historians who deal with it every day, like if you work at the National Archives, as Diane Kruger does in this film, you must have a shorthand that you use. You're not saying the Declaration.
Yeah, it's like POTUS,
every time, right?
Yeah,
or like Exhibit 18, like they've got their inside or whatever they call it.
No, it gets its full title, like it's Khaleesi every single time. It's the Declaration of Independence.
Queen of the Andals.
Yeah, they say that about 500 times in this film. Anyways, keep going.
And use it to re-steal a bunch of treasure that America already stole. E pluribus unum. That's American for finders keepers.
So pause. A thing that I was just shocked and baffled by at this movie, but in the end makes a ton of sense. I kept expecting the treasure to be something like some greater truth, like some historical artifact, maybe like a note from the founders on like the real meaning of Christmas, or like, a special thing that would bring joy and love to America. But it literally is just a pile of stolen treasure.
Full of treasure. That is what Homer finds when he finally unearths Lincoln's gold, is a note from Lincoln about the soul of America. Right?
Exactly. So
Simpsons did it better, is what you're saying.
They did do it better. I kept waiting for that reveal of like the founding fathers, being the type of men that they were, at least in legend, would leave something more meaningful and more spiritual behind. But it really is just a cave full of gold.
Yeah, no, we really live in a much more cynical time than when this movie was made. Like today, if you made a movie about hunting the Illuminati's like treasure room, the they'd be given some kind of nobler purpose. It's like, we have to find this to like give all these treasures back to the countries they were stolen from, or like, we need the money for this noble good thing. And it's like, this one is just like, nope, Illuminati, and we want the treasure, and Harvey Keitel's part of the secret society, so he's on board. And it's just like this very non-cynical view of like the elite masters who founded America and then like kept all of its riches for themselves.
The end. Yeah. And then they all buy mansions and drive off in sports cars at the end.
And that was good.
That's America, baby.
Yeah. All right.
Anyways, keep going. My jaw dropped when it was a literal room of treasure.
It's like I think one of the starrings I wrote that didn't get in was like, you get that shot of the archive and it's like, it's the end of Raiders. It's like, we have top men looking at it, but just gold, like endless gold as far as you can see. And that's like the end. That's the happy ending.
Got it.
We got the gold.
Okay, keep going.
For finders keepers, meet Benjamin Franklin Gates, the least subtle name for the most subtle Nick Cage character, who's basically Ross Geller if he were a professional America knower, but who solves puzzles like he's the world's greatest detective, Adam West's Batman.
The legend.
Bravo for this comparison, Lon.
Thank you.
Worked out quite well.
Maps have legends, maps have keys.
How do you make a dishonest shortcake? Library. Clearly a corrupted version of the word library.
The map said here at the wall, spelled with 2 E's. Wall Street follows the path of an actual wall that the original Dutch settlers built as a defense. The main gate was located at a street called De Heer, also 2 E's.
When is the time of a clock like the whistle of a train?
When it's 2 to 2.
Two.
Hang on, this movie is about the Freemasons, and this movie was produced by Jerry Bruckheimer, who also made The Rock, where Sean Connery plays John Mason. Ornery con, lying old people, and what old person lied? General Hummel, who is played by Ed Harris, Con Air, which is also produced by Bruckheimer, and starred Nicolas Cage, and the villain...
Pause. John does that voice almost every Honest Trailers recording session, so we finally found a use for it.
He does enjoy the Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, we finally found a place.
Yeah.
I gotta think about what other voices he really nails, and then we'll write to that. I mean, obviously he like voices Optimus Prime in certain things.
I was gonna say Transformers is almost cheating because he does those professionally.
But I'll get back to you. He does a lot of good celebrity stuff. Some that would like shock you at how good it is, but
sometimes I'll hear him do an impression and like it's not only a good impression, but it doesn't sound like he's producing that sound at all. Like that's what's amazing. It's like it doesn't sound like any of his other voices.
Yeah. But this worked out perfect. So I'm glad we found a way to get his Nick Cage into the Nick Cage movie.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like doing the Batman, it like all overlaps. Batman, Nicolas Cage, John's impression, like it all layers on top of one another.
Delicious. Okay, keep going.
Tasty confection.
Nicolas Cage, and the villain was Cyrus the Virus, coronavirus, a con in the air. Wake up, sheeple! But to pull off the heist of the bicentennial, this walking pub trivia night is gonna need a kick-ass crew. So he's bringing along this one nerd. He knows everything.
I'm tracking you through the GPS and Shaw's phone.
Pause. I guess maybe it's just like the script went through revisions, or just like just a bizarre choice. But they start the montage that you get in every heist movie of like assembling the crew, putting the crew together, putting the plan together. Mm-hmm. But it's just this one guy.
It's crazy that he doesn't put any kind of crew together. Like why wouldn't you want more people? Because they don't even plan on bringing Diane Kruger with them. She comes along on her own volition.
It's an accident.
They're kind of trying to get rid of her for a while. So like, you don't want any, you're going up against a whole team of mercenaries.
It's such a fun opportunity to be like, we need a driver, like we need a distraction, we needed this, we needed that, but it's just him and Doug from The Hangover.
And then it's like, oh, I guess we'll bring along this woman who wants to have me arrested, who hates me, and then let's go pick up like my cranky father who doesn't even believe in any of this stuff.
But that's after
our team.
She shows up she joins them really after the heist is over, like and then, in progress.
Voight comes in at the very end, basically.
Yeah. Oh, man. We don't get a chance to talk about Jon Voight in The Honest Trail. I just thought it was an interesting choice to portray him as a guy who doesn't believe in conspiracy theories. Playing against type there. Anyways, look into more about Jon Voight if you want that joke explained.
Honestly, don't look at him.
Yeah. All right, keep playing.
Okay. Daylight savings wasn't established until World War I.
How could the ship wind up way out here?
It could be that the hydrothermic properties of this region produce hurricane-force ice storms.
Until it's funny for him to not know anything.
It's an Ottendorf cipher.
Oh, okay. What's an Ottendorf cipher?
Do you know what the preservation room is for?
Delicious.
This is why it could have been 3 different characters.
What do we do with them?
Yeah, and might have been, honestly, in an earlier draft.
Together, they'll rope one more person into their
pause. I was going to say, one funny thing I do remember about the sequel is that it opens with Cage having to go, get Riley back to come on the next adventure. And they have this beat where, like, their fun relationship from the first movie would be like, remember that? All right, here's the new beat. But you realize they don't really have a beat from the first movie. So it's just like, we're back. Let's go. Like, it's like you're missing that. They had nothing the screenwriters of part 2 had nothing to draw on from the first movie of like, let's get back into their thing and had to create one from scratch.
Because there's like one line about like I took you off of your desk job. Like, do you want to go back to your desk? Like,
and it does feel like I'm
That's
sure
the
original draft of National Treasure, there was a fun dynamic between Riley and Ben. Of course you'd write it that way. That just got dropped, like with the pacing or whatever. But yeah, it does sort of feel like we don't even really get the relate. Is Riley his assistant, his intern, his student?
His son?
His son. Yeah, it's just like there's just this other guy there, and we're not even sure what they're, like, why he specifically is there. It's just like, that's the guy who's there.
Yeah.
He's the quipster.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Keep going.
Together, they'll rope one more person into their scheme. A woman?
Very cute man.
Who spends the entire movie being told to shut up.
Now, can you please stop shouting?
Give me that!
You're still shouting. Quiet, please. Now, shush. She really can't shut her mouth, can she? Shut up, please.
She's the one calling all the shots now. She won't shut up.
Until she rewards our hero's patriotic tomb rating with a map to her vagina.
Where does it lead to?
You'll figure it out.
Aw, the real National Treasure was inside her all along. Strap in for an action-packed
pause. I'm actually so such an innocent, naive babe in the woods that I didn't realize that she was talking about sex at the end. I thought it was like, oh, it's like a map to their new house.
The huge house that's right there.
Yeah, she drew him a map like they were going to play hide and seek.
I would like to see what she drew. Like, it's not clear what's on that paper that she handed him. Although I understood what it
looks like the Washington Monument. Yeah, going into the reflecting pool.
Yeah, I mean, is it dirty? Is it like a literal map to their bedroom? Like, what's the cute flirty thing that you?
That's the movie prop I would like to buy at Nick Cage's next bankruptcy auction.
That's what they're looking for in National Treasure 2. He's got to recover that note that she left him. It's filled with clues.
Don't put it under a black light. All right, keep playing.
Strap in for an action-packed mandatory high school field trip, as the movie gives our nation's substitute teachers enough Ben Franklin facts to excuse at least 5 smoke breaks.
Do you actually know who the first person to suggest daylight savings was?
Benjamin Franklin.
And fills in the rest of the runtime
Terrible
with
invention,
generic shootouts and explosions, until the day is saved, thanks to skills you learned from your real history teacher. Video games. So enjoy a movie that blows loads for America, Bruckheimer style. That'll take you back to simpler times, where our only adversaries were blonde Eurohunks trying to steal our coin collections, and the secret cabal who robbed other cultures.
Yeah, pause.
Ran the country.
The villain in this, Sean Bean. First of all, they're working together in the first 5 minutes, and in the first 30 seconds, I said, I wonder if the only guy without an American accent is going to turn evil and betray them.
Yeah,
and 5 minutes later, he does. But he's incredibly well funded. I don't get where he's coming from. So he's going to find the treasure and then just sell it to like somehow on the black market, like sell all these historical artifacts.
Yeah, I mean, right. I'm guessing he's got like 100 fences set up around the world to start moving all of this product, or you just take a little bit of it and leave the rest to descendants, or who knows what
he gives me. They gave me heavy vibes of the corporate tornado chasing team in Twister.
Yes, it's very much like he's just in the treasure hunting for the money. Little weird, but the other thing is, and I get from a screenwriting perspective, like I don't know what you would do to get around this. Really, it's just kind of baked in problem. But his ability to follow Nick Cage so closely throughout the movie really undermines Benjamin Gates as a brilliant singular problem solver. Like how tough could these puzzles be? Bean's figuring him out right away. He's not even from here.
He's right on your tail, yeah.
Like, imagine if I was in London and I was immediately like, well, we need to go to this tavern where Dr. Johnson customarily... I should be able to keep up with a British person. It's really like... I thought Nicolas Cage was some sort of American history guru savant. And without
You'd think he'd have home field advantage. And as far as his credentials, I think they just kind of dump them on you just to justify any sort of action protagonist thing he might need to do in the film. They're like, he's a PhD historian, Navy SEAL engineer guy.
Right. But Bean is just putting this all together in his head too. Like, wait, go over there. Old North Church. We go into Boston. Like, how are you doing this? I thought this was Nicolas Cage's specialty. You're not a Gates, sir.
Sir, you are no Gates. You can't know our facts. Those are our facts.
You're not allowed to know our facts. You got to know your facts, dude. They're about Trafalgar or something.
Cromwell.
Yeah,
that's a word.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. Cockfordshire. That's probably a place.
It's like, when I need to know about Neville Chamberlain, we'll call you.
Fancy a tube ride. I'll bet you do.
Cleopatra's Needle, get out of here.
Magna cart your ass out of here. All right.
That is actually, we have one of the Magna Cartas in the National Archives. You can see that. You can see that right next to the Declaration of Independence. You can steal the Magna Carta.
Oh, great. Okay, well, I will not be checking that out. Let's keep going.
There's a bunch of them. They made a bunch of copies. It's not that cool.
Trying to steal our coin collections. And the secret cabal who robbed other cultures, ran the country in secret, and hold the highest positions in law enforcement was like a super cool good thing that any kid would be happy to join.
Do you so swear?
So swear.
Oh, I want to be in the deep state. Starring Indy Alex Jones, The Da Vinci Chode, Dr. Girlfriend. Surprise,
One does not simply walk into the National Archives.
The Wolf. Historians being reckless with priceless artifacts.
Don't break it.
Yeah, a lot of that.
I found the Charlotte.
You mean she was a ship?
Yeah, she was beautiful.
Sassy Black Glaring.
We
The Bruckheimer specialty.
Doesn't look like an N.
Do you want something?
Shut up.
And the only time Nick Cage gets to Nick Cage.
No, there are no more clues. That's it, okay? It's over.
Red, white, and
pause.
blue.
I mean, we didn't really talk about it, but they've got the restraints on Nick Cage in this film.
I mean, I think this is one of those times where, sometimes you could tell that the director is pulling him aside and is like, we're at a 12. You go give me John Woo is give me all you got. Just lay it on me. And then I feel like other times the conversation is we're gonna let the material kind of lead. He's always in control. It's not like he's just doing Nick Cage in every movie. It's sometimes the situation calls for big Nicolas Cage, and sometimes it calls for regular Nicolas
At the end of the day, this is a Disney movie. They're not going to let him scare the children.
Right. I mean, I think in this case, it's he's the straight man. He's our vehicle into the story. So he can't be honeymoon in Vegasing all over the place because that would throw us off, Yeah. I would like to point out, Casey Supersonic in the chat makes an excellent point. It's not that Sean Bean is solving all of the puzzles himself. He's using the internet. So, of course,
that
doesn't undermine Nicolas Cage at all. How could the founding fathers have foreseen the internet?
Yahoo, yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever they were using in
imagine them
come
writing
out, 98?
these. Yeah, imagine them writing these. Yeah, imagine them writing these puzzles and then finding out we were just going to cheat with like a system that knows everything. It's like they didn't know about post and stow themselves. Cheeky bastards.
Witchcraft. All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay, it's over.
Red, White, and Blue's Clues.
That was not.
How do a bunch of guys with hand tools build all this?
Same way they built the pyramids. The Great Wall of China.
Slaves?
Yeah, no mention of the old slavery in this here America 11 film.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, I think if you made this today, you'd have to be a little bit more cynical about, like, the founding fathers.
It's the Underground Railroad. There would be a chase. It'd be a literal railroad that he would be on a car chase on.
Yeah, there's just no way it would be so uncynical about, like, all of the founding fathers being, like, heroes and, you know, amazing and whatever.
Yeah.
You'd have to cut it in some way.
Yeah. Well, we got some outtakes for you, but first, while we have you, break us off a little like and subscribe, you know? It's like voting, but on YouTube for things you like. I don't know. That's a tortured comparison. Go vote, but also...
Do real voting, and then
do the real voting,
and do
and then give us the like and the subscribe, and ring that Liberty Bell so that we can notify every time we do another one of these.
It's like voting, but you're not at risk of losing your cherished freedoms.
Yes. Or are you? We cut some stuff out of this trailer. Let's see what that was.
Starring Dummy Ocean, that one not famous guy from The Hangover, The Paper Chase, American Her Story Sex, We Been New, Surprisingly Didn't Die, Voight International, Tough Daddy and Mason. Damn it, Benjamin, I'm a professor, not a professional film and television actor. American Crime Story, America the Bootyful, Raiders of the Lost Archive, Antiques Explode Show, American Psychos, National Embarrassment.
There's a lot of titles.
Still better than Hamilton.
That was mine.
And if anyone should come out without me, well, use your imagination.
One generally doesn't go into gooning if one wishes to use their imagination.
Yeah, don't tell your goons to use their imagination.
Yeah,
like,
that doesn't
come
make
on.
any sense.
That's not what you get into the goon game for. Let's see.
I did like Antiques Explode Show. That was one of mine. I thought sometimes you write it and you're like, that's going to get through. I believed in that one.
Yeah.
Red, White, and Blue's Clues, very funny.
All the questions I'm seeing are Nick Cage related. So are you ready to do a little rage in the cage?
Sure.
Nick Cage is very tame in this. Which performance is the best crazy one?
I have a lot of thoughts on this. I mean, I mentioned Honeymoon in Vegas, which I think is one of his underappreciated go bananas over the top. I mean, obviously, I think you have to talk about Face Off. Castor Troy, maybe a definitive crazy bonkers Nicolas Cage role. And I will say, I've interviewed him and asked him this specific question. What's his favorite big operatic Nicolas Cage performance? He said Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance.
Okay.
And he specifically performed for me the moment where he goes, he's scratching at the door! He's scratching at the door!
And that was the one in, I think it was a GQ or an Esquire interview where he talked about how he had sewn certain like voodoo artifacts into his costumes that, you know, only he would know were there to influence his performance.
Yes.
So that one's definitely worth a look. Mandy, I think.
Love Mandy.
Yeah.
Also, that clip of Con Air. We haven't mentioned Con Air. Maybe the greatest accent of his career.
Yeah.
And then there's. Oh, go ahead.
It is that moment in Face Off where he's Sean Archer as Castor Troy in the prison, in the prison fight where he gets punched in the face, and then like you see every possible human expression come across his face. It's
also
my favorite.
The whole bit from Face Off where he's in the priest costume when he's still Castor Troy as himself, and he's putting the bomb in the church and he's dancing around and grabbing the women as the priest.
No, I'm sorry, Lon. It's the LA Convention Center that for some reason has an entire church service going on, and it's
because you know.
I guess it's GodCon that weekend.
Yeah. All that stuff, amazing. And also that clip from the 80s talk show appearance where he like somersaults out on stage and then just starts throwing money at the cameraman. Have you ever seen this?
I have not seen that.
I'll post it to Twitter after this, so if you follow me on Twitter, you can see it. I will send it to you as well. It's a good. He's on something or drunk or whatever, and he comes out. And it's like this local TV show, and he's just like a lunatic. It's the most cagey clip I can think of.
Zachary Delia asks, do you think a crossover between Men in Black and National Treasure would work, or would it be self-contradictory? I think you could do a whole Ancient Aliens tie-in thing. I mean, it would lose some of its reverence for, East Coast Americana, but I think that to combine that with Aliens would be a lot of fun.
You'd have to semi-retcon. I believe the first Men in Black implies that the Men in Black organization was formed after Roswell. So you'd have to retcon that like there were earlier incarnations of Men in Black or some other agency that was around in the early days of America doing their same kind of work. But that's doable, I think. So like all you'd need to do is that, and then you're all set up.
Yeah. Let's see. And I guess finally, what movie would be better if you recast the lead with Nick Cage?
I mean, all of them.
What wouldn't be?
You take your pick.
I think, for me, I'm going to pick Manchester by the Sea.
Yeah.
I think that Casey Affleck had a real restrained take on depression and grief, and I'd like to see the same film with different acting choices made.
I would love to see A Christmas Carol with Cage as Scrooge. Like, I feel like Scrooged would be fun, but even like a more serious take. I'd like to see Cage be visited by 3 holiday spirits.
Yeah. And the truth is, I know it's a silly question, but he can act. He has amazing range, and he can be subtle, and he can be subdued, and he can be genuine and not over the top and have some realism in his performances. He just chooses not to for a lot of the time, or in this stage in his career.
There is also a question in the chat of what is the best restrained or tame Nicolas Cage performance. And I'm going to go ahead and say David Gordon Green's Joe from 2013.
I never saw that. No.
It's with him and Ty Sheridan. Very subtle, but great. A really, one of those movies that really reminds you, oh, right, Nicolas Cage is like a real actor, and he's fitting what he does to the movie. He's not just out there being crazy and everything.
Yeah, I mean, Moonstruck, he won an Oscar for, right?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Leaving Las Vegas, excuse me.
Yes.
He
was nominated for Moonstruck, I believe.
Yeah. Adaptation's fantastic.
He's in a lot of movies.
He's great.
I mean, he's great in some of these movies where he's over the top. I think Honeymoon in Vegas is a legitimately good performance. It's that's a big, wacky comedy. He's supposed to be, big.
It's not all Cage Rage, but it's an interesting, late career move, because I feel like I wish a lot of stars would have tried that. And I guess they have in a sense, but they become the most distilled, intense version of themselves possible. They sort of be
Pacino,
at the risk of becoming caricatures of themselves.
De Niro, Nicholson, right? This is always what kind of happens with those iconic guys. At a certain point, they just start playing riffs on their persona.
Yeah. But for whatever reason, I think he keeps pushing that to new and more bizarre heights. And
we're going to get the unbearable weight of massive talent next year with him and Pedro Pascal. Have you heard about this one?
Yes.
Yeah. That seems to be where it might meet its meta apex. Where can you go from him playing himself who gets hired to recreate his most beloved roles?
Yeah. The cage will collapse in on itself.
Yeah, at some point.
But until then, we're enjoying the ride. And I hope you guys enjoyed the ride today. Lon, thank you for joining me. My brother in arms, my compatriot, and all you in the U.S., get out there to the polls if you haven't yet. If you're watching this in line, stay in line until you voted, and other things people who know more about civics should tell you. Yeah. Insert that here. Thank you for watching. We will see you guys tomorrow for SJU. Oh, and next week. Let's see. Next week is going to have a little sugar in it. I'll give you that. So we'll see you then for another episode of Honest Trailers Commentary. Bye-bye.